First, I'll be going in with my favorite Smashbox Photo Finish Primer, then with the L'Oreal Paris Infallible Pro Glow in the shade 201 Classic Ivory, and adding just the tiniest squirt of Maybelline Dream Liquid Mousse Airbrush Finish in the shade 40 Nude, just because I feel like it's such a creamy, delicious foundation, but I got it in the wrong color. Then I'll be setting that with my MAC Studio Fix Powder in the shade NC20. Then with my Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz in the shade Blonde, I switch from taupe because I think it looks more natural. I'm brushing up all the hairs of my brow, then outlining the bottom. Then with the brush side, I'm going to go and spread that throughout the brow to make it look a little blended. And I find the less product you use, the better it looks, the more natural. Then I'm going to go back to the crayon side, if you will, and define that top part of the brow and kind of fleek out the ends. Oh man, where's my other brow? Oh, there it is. Oh my god, I'm such a dork. With my Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Eraser for Dark Circles Treatment Concealer in the shade Fair, I'm going to be putting that on my eyelids and then setting it with that same face powder. And that's the key to any eye look because it allows you to blend it without it getting tacky. Then with the Burgundy palette, I'm going to start with the shades Naked and Beach and just work that into my crease and kind of define the line where my cut crease will be. And then I'm just dipping into that one more time and doing the exact same thing, just to deepen it up a little bit. Make sure you always tap off your brush to make sure you're not allowing fallout onto your beautiful new eye look. Then with the colors Peach and Penny, I'm going to be dabbing into each of those and then making sure I tap it off as well. I'm going just over the same line, but I'm not going as high into the brow bone. I'm sticking really close to the crease. Then with the shades Penny and Brick, I'm going to be defining that line even more. And as you go darker, I like to keep the last lightest shade, if that makes sense, to kind of make sure it's all blended and you get closer and closer to that crease line, limiting how far you blend up into your brow bone. Then with that same concealer and a little prayer, I'm going to be defining that cut crease. And this is honestly the hardest part, and people think it's a lot harder than it is. You just kind of have to go for it, own it, say, hello eyeball, you are going to be mine today, and just whip it on. And so you'll see I'm just outlining, and I like to make mine kind of wisping out at the end. See how I kind of have my eyes semi-shut is because the concealer is still wet, and so if you open your eye fully, you will get a nice little line on your nicely blended shadow, which stinks so bad, and I do it all the time. So I'm just whisking out those ends. I don't think that's the right word, but you know, we're just going to hang in there with this one. I'm so bad at voiceovers and these in general. But, you know, positivity, yay. I'm just dabbing that out, and then I am going to go back over the lines because sometimes when you dab it in, you end up blurring the line, and the key to a cut crease is a sharp line. So then I'm just going to set that with the same face powder that I already set my eye with. And just hope I don't mess up the line. Then with the shade Almond, I'm going to go over that crease line to really define it. I ended up using this e.l.f. brush, but it was dirty and I'm lazy and I didn't clean it and it looked kind of funky and it was sort of wet. And so I ended up switching to a flat brush that I had used for a painting project from Arts and Crafts. Sometimes I use paint brushes as eye brushes because honestly they're cheaper and you know you make work with what you have, and I think that's the biggest lesson is to just work with what you have, and I had paint brushes so that's what I did. Then with the shade Burgundy on a Bobbi Brown brush, but I end up switching it because it's so fluffy that it wasn't giving me the sharp line I wanted, and I wanted to use my angle brush but I had lost it and I didn't want to go look for it, so this is me being lazy and then realizing it wasn't going to work out. So I ended up finding the angle brush and switching out and dipping back into that burgundy color and redefining that line. So you start with the line of your wing and you want it to be in line with your cut crease, and then you're going to go back and frame up the top part. The key to the shadow liner is to start at the bottom, then move to the top, and then as you go just switch back and forth from the bottom of the line to the top and just defining those outer parts, and then you can kind of fill in the middle section as you go. But I find to really define the outer V of your shadow liner is the most important, and to go slow enough that you're using such a light pressure that you end up putting a gradient onto the wing. So it looks like just very winged out. And then I'm going back in with more of the color Burgundy to darken up the outer corner of my eye. I find it's really important as well to make sure that your colors are very defined and you don't have a lot of space where you can actually see the lid. Then with the color Penny again, I'm just going to go into the middle section of my eye, and that's kind of going to be the transition color to the inner corner color, which is the color Dubai. It's kind of a shiny gold, and that's going to serve as our inner corner. So the key to any shadow liner is to pick like 3-ish colors and kind of go from lightest to darkest. Then with my little tiny concealer brush, I'm just redefining the gap between my cut crease and my winged liner. I find that this kind of gives me the mental idea that I can mess up a little and it's still okay. Then with my Hoola bronzer, which I use as a contour, I'm going in the hollows of my cheeks and onto the sides of my forehead. I used to not put my contour on my forehead, but that was a mistake. This looks so much better. And so I'm going to do it on the other side. And then after the contour, we're going to be going in with Wet n Wild Ticket to Brazil bronzer. And I like to go over my contour, but more than that, I like to take the bronzer kind of all over my face, because the key to a bronzer is you're really kind of tinting up your entire face. It's not just in one section, but I am concentrating it on the contour to kind of let that be a really cool a nice transition between contour and face. Then with my blush brush, I'm going to be using the Wet n Wild blush in the color Rose Champagne, and I just like to do that as like a transition between my contour and the rest of my face to kind of blush it up a little. Then with the shade Pearlescent Pink, I'm going on the apples of my cheeks, and I kind of go very lightly to make sure I don't do too much, but I always do, and then later I'll use my e.l.f. face blending brush to kind of tone it down a little. Then with my Anastasia Beverly Hills Nicole Guerrero kit in the shade Daydream, I like to put that on the outer part to kind of give it a little orangey, blushy type thing. I'm going to use all 6 shades because I'm extra. Then with the shade Kitty Cat, I'm going over where I put my blush because it's a nice pink highlight. And then in the shades Glow Getter and 143, I'm going over my contour area, kind of a transition between my contour and my highlight. So right in the middle there. Then with the shade Forever Young, I'm doing my True Honest highlight. And then I'm going to go back over that with the shade Forever Lit, which got everywhere. These get everywhere, so just see that coming. And putting that on the highlights of my face, the cheeks, the face, the nose, the lips, everywhere. I'm bathing in it, always. So I'm redoing the nose, I'm just making that extra bright. And then again, if you're me, you got to use the face brush and blend it all out. Then with the lip liner from NYX in the shade London, I'm just getting my lips ready to hold on to my liquid lipstick for dear life. Then with the ColourPop liquid lipstick in the shade Dopey, the matte liquid lipstick, I am going over that lip liner. And then with another shade called Maneater, which is like a metallic lip gloss. Well, it's a matte lipstick, but I use it as like a lip topper. And then with the shade Like from Kylie Cosmetics, the gloss, I'm just going over all of those different lip colors. Then I'm going to be curling my eyelashes. I used to like tug at them, but now I just kind of do it right at the base a bunch of times. And then with the CoverGirl Bloom mascara in the shade, it's called Full Lash Bloom, in the shade Black and Brown. It's just black brown. I'm wiggling it all the way from the base to the top. You don't stop wiggling. And then doing the bottom lashes as well. And then I'm just adding some setting spray from NYX. Okay guys, this is the final look. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks for watching.